Hey guys, this is a market update. Let's get serious for a second, right? There is just nothing else to buy, right? Bitcoin is literally the most insane trade, and it's only going to come around once because we've got this growth, and then you're buying this asset, which clearly is the world's best, most desirable thing. Like, it's absolutely insane that we get to be alive for this, because this is the biggest opportunity we'll ever have. Look at performance here. We'll go through that in this video, but this is insane as well, right? So the president and his son, right? Two friends, one passion, Bitcoin. So I don't know if a strategic reserve is going to happen. There are many questions about that, and if it even really is positive for the states, if they really want to do that. All of that's going to come out in the wash. But the reality is, at the highest levels, you know, a lot of politicians now just say, look, we like Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is the most desirable asset. It has all the risk stripped out of it. And it is a scarcity. It's not a company. It's not got any of that risk. It's the most insane investment versus everything else. So look, we came off in December. We're bouncing from, this is a big support here, right? If you look on the daily, you can actually see that as well. We're getting support around this 90-91 level. You know, who knows, maybe a consolidation. There's a lot to come, right? We have the, debt ceiling has to be pushed out. You've got the inauguration there, 20th of January. A lot of Doge, issues there. They're going to cut spending. There's a lot of that coming out. But the reality, right, is that you just look at everything. You look at everything over the long term. You can't be in dollars. You can't be in any other fiat currency. Every other investment that you can make is getting absolutely destroyed by Bitcoin. So what else is there to buy, right? If you do trade, if you do buy crypto, check out Bybit. You can get $30,000 as a deposit bonus on here. And if not on Bybit, Apex is Bybit's DEX. If you do trade, more for day trading, you can get a permanent fee discount on there. Links below in the description. If you do fancy valuing Bitcoin in fiat currency, which we all do, right? The price of Bitcoin is 96,000. So what's your price prediction going to be? What you're actually saying is, how much currency debasement and currency weakness do you expect over the next 12 months, right? What's the price going to be in 12 months, right? And then people say, it could be this or that. What you're saying is, what do you think the amount of currency debasement will be? How weak do you think the currency will be? What do you think the price of Bitcoin will be? And we all value it in, apparently, the US fiat currency system rather than the Argentinian one or the European one, right? It's not about fiat currency anymore. Obviously, this is so obvious that it's not about fiat currency anymore. We are moving to this system where we can hold our value in a real world currency, which is going to benefit all of us if we hold it. So over the next year or so, because next year we have a huge amount of debt in the States to refinance. And so I just believe that there will be an increase in the amount of liquidity in the system. They will try and drop interest rates to refinance, and that will create a lot of liquidity around for risk assets that go up. So if you're valuing it in fiat currency, I believe the next 12 months are pretty good. You can see black here, this is where we are. Seem to get this dip every time around this time in the halving, which is insane, right? Here, here, and then here and here, which is crazy. Like, is it a coincidence after 4 years, like 4 cycles, sorry? Absolutely insane. In any case, the next 12 months should be pretty good. I don't know what the price will be, but I think we go higher, right? If you're valuing it in fiat currency. If you're valuing Bitcoin in anything else, it's going up even more, right? Like, what of these things do you want to buy, right? Do you want to buy commodities? No. The literal word commodity means a kind of worthless thing. So you can't invest in that. Now, you can trade it throughout cycles. I'm not here to promote any trades. Do you want to invest in, real estate investment trusts? Absolutely not. Barely even. This is valued in fiat currency, right? Everything goes up in fiat currency. Everything goes up in fiat currency because the fiat currency is going down. But if you value everything in Bitcoin, there's only 2 things that have outperformed it on these kind of big major assets, right? NVIDIA and MicroStrategy. Now, MSTR is literally leveraged Bitcoin, right? So take that one out, and you've got one thing that outperformed it, right? And NVIDIA's done really, really well, right, over the last, 5-10 years. So amazing performance. But it's one company with a lot of risk. And Bitcoin is the broadest, most diversified thing you can own. And everything else is leeching value in relation to Bitcoin. So what else can you buy, right? Morgan Stanley is like a few hundred years old as a bank. Do you think they've actually got any growth at that organization? Like, it's literally going to get replaced by crypto, and it's going up. It's wow, good performance, but it's performing the same as Coinbase. So which one of these outperformed or underperformed? Because you've got JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, right, which are hundreds of years old, right? And they're getting replaced by crypto. And you've got Coinbase, which is crypto, that's the same performance as them, which doesn't make any sense, right? So how much of that is currency debasement? How much is that just like, we're just going to invest in finance, right? So people are just allocating to finance, and it's like, well, Coinbase is one of them, right? So I don't understand why you'd invest in any of these things, because they're all just being underperformed by Bitcoin, which has all of the risk of those things stripped out. Because you can't just buy Coinbase, you can't just buy Morgan Stanley, right? You have to buy a basket, which means that you're diversifying. The best one is the NASDAQ index, which outperforms S&P. S&P's down here, right? So, the S&P's going up in value. No, it isn't. It's getting demonetized by Bitcoin. Yes, it's going up in fiat, but fiat is not the thing to value things from. Bitcoin is now the world reserve currency, obviously. And so you have to value everything in Bitcoin first, and everything is getting destroyed by Bitcoin. So there is nothing else to buy because all of this is riskier than Bitcoin and underperforming it. There's nothing else to buy other than BTC. Now that we've ended 2024 and going into 2025, you get all of the year-end performances. Again, you're measuring performance of something over a 12-month period, a completely arbitrary time horizon to value something in. Like, this year we performed, like, who cares? Like, what, January 1st to January 1st? What? It's just complete made up, like, arbitrary time horizon. In any case, 2024, Citadel's multi-strategy fund is up 15%. The S&P was up 27%. Up against what? These are both down. These are both getting destroyed in real money, which is Bitcoin. They're not up. They're getting absolutely destroyed. Looking at the multi-strat hedge fund returns, 36% up, right? 35%, 21%, 18%. Valued in what? These are all destroyed. These are all minus when valued in actual currency, which is Bitcoin. Hedge funds 2020, exponential age. This is Raoul Pal's hedge fund here. To be fair, for TradFi, 62% performance. Amazing. What, valued in dollars? How's it valued in Bitcoin? It's literally down. It's down in real money. There's nothing else to buy. There's literally nothing to buy. Everything is getting destroyed by real money. You just hold this real money that has none of the risk. You want to invest in a hedge fund? 100 grand minimum entry. You want to get out? Sorry, we've got a 6-month waiting list. I'll just buy the Bitcoin then. I can trade it at 24/7, no lockup, and you're getting destroyed. There's nothing else to buy. Please tell me what else to buy. Look at all these assets going up in value. Look, these are the best companies you can invest in, right? You have one outperformer. You have to buy an index because one is risky. You have to buy it. They're getting destroyed in Bitcoin. All of them, except for NVIDIA and MSTR, which is leveraged Bitcoin. There's nothing else to buy. There's nothing else to buy. This is the S&P. And as you can see here, what we have is a negative last 5 trading days of December, which we just had, right? And so people are saying, well, after that, the market usually does pretty well. Of course the market does well. The market always does well because it's valued in a currency that's always going down like a lead balloon. And so, yeah, it always goes up. Like, look at the returns of the S&P. It's not investment returns, it's currency debasement. And so is this S&P going to go up over the next few months and few years versus real money, Bitcoin? No, it's going down. Everything is getting destroyed. Everything is going down in value versus real money. And so you're valuing this stuff in fake money and telling everyone they're getting investment returns. They're not. They're getting destroyed. Everything is going down in value versus Bitcoin. It is the thing you need to measure against. It is the actually fixed yardstick. Everything is getting destroyed. NVIDIA, great performance. MSTR, amazing performance. Most other stuff, absolutely destroyed. Now, a lot of stuff outperforms Bitcoin short term, right? Including some meme coins, this, that, and the other. Great. We're all trading the same thing here, which is memes. Bitcoin is the best, most persistent meme, in my opinion, which is it's money. Everyone wants money forever. So I am investing in that meme, which is the long-term persistent meme, which I think is just the best thing to invest in. But there are other memes to invest in. There are other narratives that perform over time. But I'm not here to advertise or promote small little opportunities. The big opportunity is the world reserve currency, the absolute granite which you can build your skyscraper off, which is Bitcoin, the least risky thing, but with this unbelievable performance. Everything is getting destroyed. There's nothing else to buy. Again, if you want to measure your returns in a fiat currency, that is up to the individual. Now, I think you should measure returns of Bitcoin versus everything else. Are cars becoming more expensive in Bitcoin? Are houses becoming more expensive in Bitcoin? Are other commodities becoming more expensive in Bitcoin? No, they're becoming cheaper. Now, over the very short term, the problem people have is that they have liabilities in fiat currency and they over-egg it in the investment scene, and then the price drops in fiat currency terms because the central bank is trying to save its own Ponzi scheme, and it creates this liquidity issue, right? That's what we have to make sure that we don't fall from. Don't lose your coins. Make sure that you have liquidity to pay for liabilities, because that's a fiat currency system that we're enslaved in. But in any case, very, very clear, right? So we have to make sure, really, that we're not getting caught out and we have liquidity for our needs. And that's important because the central bank controls everything short term, including the amount of money and the cost of money. all right, and risk taking within the economy, and that means they can put us out of work, they can raise the price of things, and we have liquidity issues, right? So that's what we have to be aware of. That's the only thing. So it's buy this asset, which everything is getting demonetized by, and make sure we have liquidity, that we don't get caught out, right? In any case, it doesn't matter what the interest rate is next year. Market implied Fed funds rate, I think it's going to come way lower than this. Two-ish cuts priced in the next 12 months. Trillions of dollars need to be refinanced. I think they're going to cut way more than this because they want the lowest possible rates of interest for their blended, the blended rate of interest for their debt, right? I think it's going to come lower than this, which means if the market is pricing in a hawkish scenario and it becomes more dovish, risk assets go up again. That's what I'm trading next year. I think we're going to have a good year because they're actually going to drop rates lower than this. In any case, it doesn't matter, right? Because this is relative. It's a relative interest rate versus inflation. Inflation is like 10%, real inflation, and their Fed funds rate is 3-4%. So it's still, the currency is still getting debased, right? So it doesn't matter. If inflation drops, they'll drop interest rates. If inflation doesn't drop, they'll keep interest rates higher, but it doesn't matter. It's a relative amount. Over time, is that you're just suffering, right? Because the interest rate is lower than the rate of inflation, the real rate of inflation. So it doesn't matter. We just have to make sure we don't get caught out. This is it, right? This is US CPI on Wall Street, right? So they see it as a percentage change, where what we're seeing is that it just keeps going up, right? So it went up at 4%, it went up at 6%, it went up at 10%, it went up at 6%, it went up at 2%. It's still positive. It's always positive. They always make sure it's positive because the fiat currency Ponzi scheme has to debase the currency and inflate away the previous debt. Otherwise it collapses. And when the fiat currency system collapses, everyone gets annoyed and the people currently in charge get voted out. And they don't want to get voted out. So this is the way it goes, right? This is insane. Deposits, all commercial banks. It's just going up. So the currency is debasing itself. There's more currency units. There's more debt all the time because they have to make sure that the fiat currency system doesn't collapse, which means you constantly need new currency units coming in. The currency debases or there's a stimulus there. Risk assets go up because they're not debasing like this. I think there's another one as well right here. Consumer price index, absolutely insane. By the way, does it ever go down? No, it doesn't. So the real trade here is you actually have a currency that isn't absolute garbage. And you can just hold it and everything's getting demonetized by it. There's nothing else to buy. This is hilarious as well. This is the perfect propaganda piece by, I think this is Wall Street Journal, right? Which we all know is just absolute psyop propaganda at this point. And Mohammed El-Arian, who's like the A1 talking head of fiat currency psyop propaganda, right? So what we have here, it says this is given to us in a very negative sense, right? Over indebtedness, overbuilding, overcapacity. Like that's a bad thing, right? So break down what that means. Overcapacity. What that means is those people are creating more stuff than they need, right? Which would otherwise be known as abundance. Abundance isn't negative, is it? How much stuff do you have? We've got loads of stuff. We've got cars, we've got electronics, we've got enough food, we've got everything. We make everything here. We've got loads of abundance. And so these talking heads from the Wall Street Journal call that overcapacity. How's that a bad thing? Literal wealth is when you have loads of stuff. That is actually a good thing. And we are being told that apparently overcapacity is an absolute disaster. Wow, these guys, they just have way too much stuff. They have so much wealth, it's a disaster. When you realize that the fiat currency system, government, banks, and fiat currency is a huge authoritarian Ponzi scheme. And the reason why wealth creation in other parts of the world is a bad thing is because it drops the cost. It drops the cost of goods and services around the world. And when you drop the cost of goods and services, you drop GDP, which makes the authoritarian Ponzi scheme unravel even faster, which means they have to create even more debt and even more paper to keep GDP and inflation positive. And when they do that, that creates problems at home because everyone says, you're inflating our currency, you're stealing our money, we notice it, and we're going to vote you out. It's insane when you realize this. And the only way to escape, right, is just to chill out and realize that everything's getting demonetized by this asset, whether it likes it or not. Don't be part of that system. You're going to get absolutely wrecked. This is the way we can just create value and provide value, because you create abundance, it gets cheaper in Bitcoin terms, and that's amazing, and no one can print it. There's nothing else to buy. Literally, please give me something else to buy that's better than this, and I will buy it, I'm sure. Trading bonus on Bybit up to 30K. Fee discount on Apex as well. Links down below in the description. I'm James Manzi G. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.